Hey, it's JK. As you might have seen from my Dark Souls Mega Magic run, there's a lot of different magic spells in this game. But today, I want to talk about a spell that many people may not even know exists. Part of the reason is this spell has a very unconventional method to acquire it. I'd actually be pretty surprised if anyone found this without looking it up. Once you beat the final boss of the DLC, Manus, Father of the Abyss, you are rewarded with his soul. Like most boss souls in this game, you can use this to get his unique weapon, in this case Manus' Catalyst. But you can also trade his soul with the crows at the Undead Asylum to get the spell in question, that being Pursuers. No other boss soul is traded with the crows like this, and I don't think there's any indicator you can do it. But the question is, how good is the game's most hidden spell? Well, today I intend to find out by seeing if it's possible to beat the game using only the Pursuer's spell. So let's get the obvious out of the way. It should go without saying that you can't get this spell from the beginning of the game. But of course, that doesn't halt my pursuit of pulling off this run. Obviously, we can circumvent that via the use of Cheat Engine and other such tools, but there's a second issue. The spell has an intelligence requirement of 32 to even use it. Now, I could use Cheat Engine again to raise my intelligence to 32, but starting a run with a stat that high, especially the primary stat this spell scales with, seems pretty overpowered. But thankfully, there is a second option. Thanks to some help from my guy Trev the Dev, go check out his channel in the link below, I was able to mod the game to remove the intelligence requirement of Pursuers, meaning we can use it right from the beginning of the game. To start this run off right, we create an absolutely gorgeous character. What do you think this guy would pursue in life? Let me know in the comments below. We still start as the Sorcerer class as it has the highest intelligence, and we choose Master Key because it's the wisest of choices. Now we run through the asylum until we can grab the Sorcerer's staff. So let's talk about how Pursuers functions. If you've ever used Homing Soul Mass, it's exactly like that. It forms some orbs around you that fly towards nearby enemies and deal damage on contact. There's a couple differences though. Firstly, the cast time is way longer, and secondly, the damage they deal is slightly different. This is a dark spell, and in any of the future games this would deal dark damage, but dark damage doesn't exist in Dark Souls 1 ironically, so actually it deals a combination of magic and physical damage. Another thing to note is the number of orbs that appear is dependent on what level your intelligence is. Between 1 and 18 intelligence you get 2 orbs, then at 19 intelligence you get 3 orbs, then at 25 intelligence you get 4 orbs, and finally at 31 intelligence you get 5, which is the maximum. Because normally you'd need 32 intelligence to cast this, you'd usually always have 5 orbs. For now, we only have 2. Lastly, this spell has far fewer casts than Homing Soul Mass, clocking in at just 3 casts, versus Homing Soul Mass's 10, and of course there's no items in Dark Souls 1 that restore spell casts, so working around our limited ammunition will be key to success in this run. So the first question is, can 3 casts take out the Asylum Demon? Let's see the damage. Okay, that is pretty good actually. With that, 3 casts is comfortably enough to take him out, we just have to avoid his attacks and let our little orbs do their thing. Before long, the first boss is Asyluminated. We take the express route to Firelink Shrine, and we level up Int and Strength? Trust me, there is a reason for this, we'll touch on it later. I plan to take a somewhat normal route for taking on the bosses, but I did get the Master Key for a good reason. So we run below Firelink Shrine to the shortcut into Blight Town, and then run to grab the Tin Banishment Catalyst. It's good to get a new Catalyst, but shame we can't get a new Doggerlist. Because Dark Sorceries do part physical damage in this game, there's a hidden modifier that makes any catalyst with strength or dex scaling boost Dark Sorcery damage even further. At this stage, the damage seems to be the same from both catalysts, and for now, I want to focus on leveling intelligence to get more orbs, but trust me, this will come into play later. For now, let's just burg through the Undead Blitz and head to the Taurus Demon. So we obviously can't kill the archers due to not wanting to waste our casts on them, which is pretty annoying honestly. But even ignoring them, we actually don't do enough damage to kill Taurus Demon with 3 casts. We need some more bullets in our gun to kill this beast. So what do? Well, we're actually only 1 point of intelligence away from getting a 3rd orb with each cast, so we spend a bit of time farming for it. Just gonna level up here, and boom, 3 orbs. I want to try Taurus again, but this time I had an idea to deal with the archers. I've never tried this, but I lured Taurus up to this platform with the archers still alive. To my pleasant surprise, he was actually able to kill them. With them dead, we can try out our new damage. 1 cast now does almost half of Taurus Demon's health, so suffice to say, 3 casts was now easily enough to take the bull by the horns and put an end to this one. With the souls gained, I put 2 points into Dex and 1 point into Int to see if the Tin Banishment Catalyst would actually do more damage than the Sorcerer's now. But it actually did less. In hindsight, looking at the footage here, this might be something to do with the enemy's physical defense versus its magic defense, but in any case, we just decided to keep pushing intelligence for now. Seems like the smart thing to do. As we're in the area, let's give the gargoyles a try. So the first one has 1,000 health and we did 492 with our cast. 8 points of damage short. Now we could just level up a bit more, but let's do something more exciting, I guess. So we go buy the residence key and then head down to free our good buddy Griggs. We now do the Drake Bridge farm for a decent hour or so for some spending money. With this, we buy the Andre of Artorias from Crest and then buy the Bellowing Crest ring from Drags. This ring gives us a 20% boost to our magic. Let's give the Gogs another go. Yep, that's definitely much better damage. The fire attack lets me have a good window to cast my spell, and after 3 casts, we are now a bell to defeat the Gogs. We level up to 25 int, which means we now have 4 orbs per cast. Things are looking pretty good. Our next route is down to the Darkroot Garden. Given we have a nice ranged build, we may as well try the I can't believe it's not butterfly. Unfortunately, I cast too early and it was still in its invincibility animation, and the first lot of orbs did nothing. This was pretty unfortunate, as it was clear from the damage of the second cast that we have the damage to kill it. So obviously, I purposefully died to quickly get back to the bonfire. Yeah. Next try, we managed to light up the butterfly with all our ammunition, and that's enough to pull out the win. After another quick level up, we run through the Artorias and grab the stone armor for use later. As we're here, I thought I'd give Sif a try just to see the damage, and we're nowhere close. That's a pretty decisive no. Well, before we do anything else, let's go get another buff for our damage. Down in the Valley of Drakes, we climb up the top of this tower to grab the red Tearstone ring, giving us 50% more damage when we're on low health. With that in hand, we book it down to the lower burg and prepare outside Capra Demon's boss room by slapping on the stone armor. Given our damage, I was confident that it would be okay to use 1 cast to handle the dogs. Sadly, I only managed to kill 1, but part of it did hit Capra and the second cast hit him in full, showing that Pursuers is a bit of a goated spell. With the key he dropped, we can now go to the depths, and of course we level up Int again. Before doing anything else, we make sure to kill the Channeler, because I learned my lesson from the archers in the Taurus Demons fight. With my anger successfully channeled, let's try the Gaping Dragon. Yep, nowhere near enough damage. Also, you probably know this by now, but Gaping Dragon's little head is a weak point, but the orbs don't really home in on the head. I'm not sure how many of them actually hit it there. So let's try using the red Tearstone ring this time. Now, those ones definitely didn't hit the head, but the damage was for sure enough. Shame that I died though. There's definitely gaping holes in my skill level. The next time I'm pretty sure I did manage to hit the head because the damage jumped up massively. I could maybe have 2 hit him with another round to the head, but I settled for the safe option and just hit him with 2 body hits to turn this sewer dragon into a pursuer dragon. With the souls gained, we get our intelligence up to 32, giving us our full 5 orbs at last. As we're here, let's head down this awful route to Blighttown. The main reason is it's easier to get to this parasite guarding power within. For whatever reason, the orbs will not home in on and attack the wall parasite, but thankfully I managed to leisurely walk through its legs and grab power within. This place is a parasite for sore eyes. Of course we can't use power within yet as we don't have a pyro flame, but to be honest, I want to see how far we can get without it. Well, Quelags are waiting. Let's try without red Tearstone ring first. Each cast does 955 damage total, just short of 3 casts being able to take her out. Okay, so red Tearstone should push us over the edge. And by push us over the edge, I mean actually increase the Quelaverage damage drastically. Attack multipliers go crazy in this game, just look at that. That's like double the damage. I thought it might have somehow hit Quelag's human body, but it didn't look like it from the footage. Regardless, we take it. The second bell is now rung. We level up intelligence again, and I'm going to take an alternate strategy to get the pyro flame. First, we go out near the Daughter of Chaos bonfire and get a special grab from this maggot guy. What this actually does left me scratching my head, but after a while, I realized exactly what was going on. Ingi now gives me a pyro flame and also an egg vermifuge to return myself to normal. Let's get out of Blighttown now. Thank God we can use Remedy with our sorcerer build, it definitely makes it a lot easier. One thing that doesn't make life easier though is I completely forgot about Lautrec. Oops. Well, that's certainly not favourable, but no time to worry about that now. On to Sen's fortress. Honestly, this was one of the easiest ascents of this fortress I've ever had. I actually didn't die once. One other thing I wanted to mention about pursuers, by the way. If you cast it and then sit at a bonfire, you keep the orbs floating around you even after you stop resting, but of course your cast will replenish. This technically would give you one extra round of pursuers, but I never found a good use for this due to the location of most of the bonfires, and also the fact that the orbs dissipate if they touch anything, including fog gates. Iron Golem guards the top of this fortress. The initial 2 casts didn't do that much, but one of his attacks knocked me down to red tearstone range, meaning the final cast did more than double damage, turning him into a dying golem. I'm starting to see why they nerfed the red tearstone ring so hard in Dark Souls 2 and 3. We get lifted up now to take in this impressive view of Anor Londo, then we raise up our intelligence once again and take the usual route across the rafters. So for the Silver Knight archers, I was tempted to try and kill it with pursuers, but I chose a less than ideal place to cast. Next try, I casted it way earlier and managed to show this knight that every cloud has a silver lining. Before we head on to the next boss, we have a Firekeeper to rescue. With the Black Eye Orb, we can invade this world and take out these 3 idiots with absolute ease. Today was his Lautreckening. Okay, that's all sorted, so now it's time for Smosteen and Ornn. Let's try out pursuers on the Dragon Slayer first with no red tearstone. Okay, about half his health. Well, looks like we gotta go with red tearstone. With our health low, we dodge Ornstein's initial assault, and even though he jumps around, the pursuers still home in and hit him, managing to actually one-shot him. With that done, I was pretty confident we could take Smo, providing we didn't accidentally hit his hammer. Luckily, we successfully landed both casts to finish off this momentous encounter. After another quick level up, we grab Guinevere's vessel for fast travel access. Well, time to go back and take out some bosses. First, we take the slightly complex route back to the Northern Asylum. So let's see what we do to the Stray Demon. I think from now on, red tearstone might be essential, especially for super tanky bosses like this guy. Weirdly, this was one of the more frustrating encounters. And not even because of the Stray Demon, but because of not being able to kill the hollows up above. I died quite a few times thanks to these little buggers. But eventually, I managed to land 3 successful casts for the win. We grab the doll and just barely escape the Black Knight without dying, thankfully keeping our souls for leveling up. We then return to Firelink Shrine and restore Anastasia to her former self. She's definitely a keeper. And speaking of which, if I managed to keep you watching this video up till now, why not consider hitting that sub button? We're in pursuit of 200,000 subscribers, and obviously we can only get there with your help. Thank you, I appreciate you all. So anyway, shall we go try Sif again now that we're a bit stronger? First, I enlist the help of this mushroom parent to help lower me to red tearstone range. He could have maybe used a bit of a lighter touch. Let's try with a shield. Ooh, not quite enough now, but thankfully this little ledge does the rest. With our increased stats and orb quantity, the damage is now massive. Over half his health depleted from 1 cast. Goes without saying that we won shortly after, but I said it regardless, so there we go. At this point, I felt it might be good to try the DLC as our damage feels pretty high. But we actually encountered quite an unexpected roadblock. The pursuers actually will not target the Hydra. I'm guessing they would home in on its actual body, but because of the water we actually can't get close enough to it, even going round the side. It appears the Hydra is actually impossible to kill with pursuers only. This was, surprising. But, let's be real, it would be pretty disappointing if we didn't do the DLC. So, here's a compromise. I'll kill the Hydra using only the poke attack of the Tin Banishment Catalyst. Trust me when I say this was pretty annoying, especially this final head. No joke, I spent about 6 minutes just trying to kill this one head, slowly hydrating my sanity. Thankfully, the golem was much easier to take down. With Dusk now free, we head into the catacombs, show the necromancer our projectiles are better than his, and head to get the Dark Moon Seance Ring. With that in hand, we drop down further and prepare for Pinwheel. I actually decided to watch the opening cutscene for him because it's pretty cool, but the actual fight lasted way less time. Didn't even need red tearstone here, I'm definitely the stronger wielder of dark magic. I lit the Tomb of the Giant's first bonfire and then warped out because I hate this area with every fibre of my being. But also, with the Seance Ring, we get to go crash Gwendolyn's party. The best trick for this fight is to cast pursuers behind the pillar and run in close as he does the arrow attack. On my first attempt, I was pretty sure 2 casts would be enough to kill him given the damage from the first one. I I did actually miss the first cast, so I only had one remaining, but I was confident. Which I shouldn't have been, because we were a tiny bit of damage short. With one more level of intelligence, it pushed our damage up by 10 points a cast, which now made it possible to kill him in just 2, causing the sun to set on Gwendolyn's existence. Well, as we're in the neighborhood, let's head into the painted world. I actually turned the wheel below for once instead of doing the dragon leg skip. I was quickly reminded of why I don't come this way. I really hate it down here. So, Priscilla. Well, firstly, the pursuers will not home in on her because she starts off as a non-aggressive target. Now, we can aggro her by walking next to her with the pursuers up, causing them to disperse on her, doing small damage. But, while she's invisible, they won't home in on her at all. We could do the same tactic of bumping into her, but the orbs don't do poise damage, so she would never break from her invisibility state, and we would never be able to land a full power pursuers on her. As such, Priscilla is actually not possible, so we can cross her off our list. Shame I couldn't describe all that in a more concise manner. Thankfully, I save stated before we entered for the first time, so that I could run past her and jump off the edge to freedom. Another adjacent route to Anor Londo is the Duke's Archives, so let's go. How do I make this mistake after playing this game so many times? Seriously, why do I— Okay, so we place the Lord vessel nicely to unlock all the routes we need. But I decided to actually take on Lost Izalith first. Weirdly, the pursuers do not home in on Ceaseless's arm. I'm guessing it must be the same deal as the Hydra where they will only target his head. But here, all we need to do is deliver 6 hits, which we can do by just walking around his arm with the pursuers up. I could have, I guess, just restarted the fight and fought him quote-unquote normally, but honestly, I thought this was funnier. Truth is, it turned out he didn't have a contract for his home, so I had to evict him. I guess you could call this a leaseless discharge. With that out of the way, we cause the worm to turn and run past all the nonsense down here to get to the Demon Fire Parsley. This was a lot easier than the Stray Demon, mainly because it was just one-on-one and he gave me time to cast 3 times quickly. He does drop the Demon Catalyst, which scales with strength and dex, meaning we'll get a boost to our pursuer's damage. Let's try it out against the Centipede Demon. Well, unfortunately the damage number with the Sorcerer Catalyst was still superior, so we'll keep using that for now, I guess. But this fight was another where several deaths went down due to just random BS. Sometimes he'd jump and the orbs would fly off in different directions. Another time, the orbs flew right through him. Seriously, what the Izalith happened here? Or what about when he swipes his arm and destroys the orbs? Thankfully though, on this attempt, his hit got me into red tearstone range and the final cast was enough to cut the legs right out from under him. After avoiding some more leg-focused creatures, it was time for the Bed of Chaos. To be honest, the nodes can actually be destroyed with rolling, so this should be an easy win. Stupid bedraggled insect. With a quick level up, we now return to Tomb of the Giants and get Bonfire number 2 active. Nito is up next and yeah, this is an issue. We have no way to take out the skeletons, and worse than that, it seems the red tearstone ring or power within may be required to finish off Nito here. If I'm honest, I sort of neglected leveling health here, so having our health drain or being on low health is not great with these skeletons running around. Plus, I need to figure out a way to make sure the pursuers home in on Nito and not the skeletons, if I can even cast it at all. I'll need to come back to this one, I think. Let's head to the Duke's Archives instead. I wanted to, of course, kill the Crystal Golem, but the Crystal Goombas seem to take issue with that. So to give myself some space, I sent some of them down this lift, clearing the way and letting me take out our Golem friend. After about 30 minutes of trying and failing to do the Duke skip, I opted to take the Forced Deceithing instead. By the way, if you're wondering about whether I'm doing Logan's questline, I opted not to do it this time, just because I've done it a lot in runs recently, and the Tin Crystallization Catalyst reducing my costs wouldn't be a good time. Logan's Catalyst would also probably be good, I guess, but let's try without. Seath is going to be an interesting one, I think. He has pretty high magic resist, so I'm curious what our damage will look like. I quit out to avoid the clams and then set up Red Tearstone. This was by far the lowest damage we've seen so far. He takes more damage if you hit his weak point, but the orbs aim a bit higher than that. I'm pretty sure this third cast was hitting though, but hard to tell. One thing I hadn't tried up to this point was the Dust Crown Ring to give myself 1 extra cast in exchange for half our health. Would this be worthwhile when we're losing either the Bellowing Dragon Crest Ring or the Red Tearstone Ring? Yeah, not really. Okay, so we might actually have to use Power Within also. I want to give myself a good period with both Power Within and the Red Tearstone Ring active, so first let's get our max health low by getting Cursed. If you're wondering what the hell I'm doing, well, Power Within takes off 1% of your health every second in exchange for a 40% damage increase. And no, that amount is not affected by how upgraded the Pyro Flame is. That information online is absolute lies. By having low max health and equipping the Sanctus Shield, which restores 2 HP to you every 2 seconds, you can basically eliminate the health reduction of Power Within. This means we can stay at low health to activate Red Tearstone Ring while also having Power Within active, and we don't need to worry about dying from it. Weirdly, this didn't seem to help with our damage much. I also at this point realized I completely forgot about the Crown of Dusk, which gives us a further 20% boost to our magic damage. What was crazy was the damage increased dramatically after we put this on. Did that hit his weak point while all the others didn't? But then what about this next hit? That definitely hit the weak point. But then on the next attempt, I'm pretty sure all these hit the weak point, and we didn't even get the 1900 that we saw on the first attempt last time. Finally, I realized the best approach was actually not locking on. I went up close and looked slightly downwards, and that seemed to get some more consistently high damage numbers. What a weird Seath fight, but at least the scales finally tipped in our favor. Well, it looks like it's DLC time at last. Challenger Handy gives us his usual greeting. Ian the Sanctuary God was less welcoming though. This fight was a great example of how much the pursuers can home in. Look how far they followed him here. Anyway, he's got much less health than the other bosses so far, so this was an easy win. What about Artorias though? He has more health, but also more defense. On the first try, he was so happy to see me, he jumped with excitement. On the next try, I actually did let him get his buff off after one cast took off half his health. I thought it would take the remaining 2 casts to finish him, but the second cast hit him while he jumped, getting that sweet instability damage and allowing us to say night-night to the fight with this knight mid-flight. After having some fun in town, I invalidated the run by aggroing the Mimic by hitting him with my Catalyst. I realized after that I could have used Lloyd's Talisman, but oh well. Crest key acquired. I next went to Kala meeting with the Black Dragon, but unfortunately he told me I was fired. Goff had my back though, thankfully. Good lad. Calamite has some of the highest overall defenses in the game, so it should be no surprise that our damage came nowhere close to 3-shotting him. So what to do now? Well, there is still another upgrade we can get to our build, but we need to go beat Manus. After somehow making it through this section without dying, seriously, I did well with these trouble areas this time. I stand outside Manus's fog gate and take in the one-shot contest PTSD as I prepare to enter. So right now, we do 1850 damage. We need to do about 2222 damage to take off a third of Manus's health. At this point, leveling is the only option it seems. Let's see what 99 intelligence does to our damage. Okay, so that's an extra 220 per cast. That's better, but still not enough. Okay, well, what about using the Demon's Catalyst, but we'll level up to 99 strength to try and get the most out of that descaling in strength. Ooh, 2253. That's enough. Just barely, but it's enough. Alright, we got this. Wait. Why is that doing less damage? One of the orbs must have gotten instability damage last time. They did hit him just after he jumped. Damn it. Okay, well what about the catalyst from the very beginning of the run, the Tin Banishment Catalyst? This has descaling with dex, so let's add 99 dex to our build and see what that does. Wow, okay, that was a big jump in damage. Right, we got this now. 2 more casts, and we finally banish Manus with our catalyst of choice. Again, in hindsight looking at this, the Demon's Catalyst probably could have done this as well, maybe with even higher damage. I actually only realized after finishing the run that it also has a descaling in dex. Oh well. Right, so now we can get the best catalyst for Dark Sorceries. We used Manus's Soul to upgrade the Sorcerer's Catalyst to Manus's Catalyst, before I realized that Manus's Catalyst halves your amount of costs. I forgot about that. Whoops. So I reloaded my save and beat Manus again. This time, I did the much wiser thing of using his soul to get 3 more casts of Pursuers. Even though I've got this now, I'm planning to try and finish the remaining bosses with just 3 casts if possible. Well, let's try Calamite again, now with our Tin Banishment Catalyst build. Okay, it's a lot less than Manus, but it means that 3 casts will be just about enough to finish him off. Providing this doesn't happen. Or this. But third try lucky. We land all 3 of our casts, and this fight calamitizes us no longer. The run, however, is not over. We still need to sort out Nito and the 4 kings. Let's figure out this Nito situation first. I let Patches help me organize a trip, and then I grab the Skull Lantern. We can exchange this with the crows for the Ring of Fog, which I think will be key to victory here. This makes it so that enemies can't detect you as easily. With this equipped, I can stand at the back of Nito's boss room and the skeletons won't come. With our build now, I don't need to be in red Tearstone range anymore. Using the Bellowing Dragon Crest ring is enough to roll up the Grave Lord into a spicy Burnito. Given my past experience, I thought we wouldn't stand a ghost of a chance getting through this house to reverse Santa the Chimney. But, once again, we managed to get through a normally troublesome area first try. What a strange run. Anyway, Ingrid hands us the key to the Dugong, and you know what time it is. The boss with the highest health pool in the game, the Four Kings, clocking in at 9,600. Is there any chance we can 3-shot them with our build, given we are required to sacrifice a ring slot for the Crest of Artorias? It's now a choice between the Bellowing Dragon Crest ring and the Red Tearstone ring. The Red Tearstone does of course do more damage, but being in one-shot range is not great for this fight, plus I had stupidly leveled up Vitality a bit, meaning I didn't quite have infinite hyper mode. I would indeed die at some point, likely before the final king spawned. Let's try the Bellowing Dragon Crest ring first. 2600. Now that's good damage, but we won't get the 3-shot there. Looks like we have to use the Red Tearstone. One move that I was praying that they didn't start with was the projectile, so of course they started with it. I thankfully did avoid it and landed the Pursuers, this time doing 3,630, meaning the 3-shot was now possible. But how do I avoid dying from power within? Well, mid-attempt, it came to me. I cast Pursuers again after the first king died. This means that the orbs will have the Red Tearstone boost. I then healed up to full health, went near the second king, and the Pursuers killed him quickly. I then switched rings, changing the Red Tearstone ring to the Bellowing Dragon Crest ring, as this should be enough to finish off the last of their health. And it was. The Four Kings defeated in just 3 casts. I knew my pursuit of this wasn't in vain. Right, let's end this. We prepare some Lord Soul soup to open the way to the kiln of the first flame. Hopefully this Black Knight can help us get into Red Tearstone range. I really should have cured that curse at some point. Anyway, with Red Tearstone finally set, we go in, dodge Gwinkabel's flying attack, get behind a pillar, cast the Pursuers, and... wow, 1 cast was enough. Huge damage. So the run is complete. Pursuers was pretty damn strong, especially if you're prepared to pump loads of points into strength and dex as well as intelligence. I'd still say that Manus' Catalyst with Dark Bead will probably be better damage-wise, but this could be a fun alternative. In any case, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, I've been JK Leeds, have a good one, and see ya.